Hi, I'm Dr. Timothy Ye. I'm one of the lifestyle and obesity medicine physicians here at Kaiser Baldwin Park. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen, because really the kitchen is going to be the key to success in your weight loss journey. Now, I would like to start with this video talking about some lifestyle components that'll really assist with your ability to lose weight. Now, some of you are watching this thinking, well, I'm really kind of just interested in weight loss medications. But the reason I like to focus in on the lifestyle component, especially early on, is that all the tools that we have for weight loss these days, whether it be medications or even weight loss surgery, they don't do all the work on their own, okay? I have plenty of patients that go on medications, even the newest and greatest ones, or have weight loss surgery, and still don't get good results or lasting results, because there really still needs to be a lifestyle component. These tools we have, they don't work on their own, okay? So always is a good idea to really try to address it, especially early on, and that's what I'd like to talk to you about. All right, so before even getting into the food aspect of it, let's talk about a couple skills that will be really helpful. My patients that are able to adopt these skills by far have the best results, regardless of what treatment options they choose, all right? Now, one of them is keeping a food journal or logging in their food. It's a mindfulness habit, all right? Now, these days, with the great technology we have and this great tool called the smartphone, it's so much easier now, all right? And then what's great is now there are free apps out there that really you can incorporate into your core lifestyle habits and skills that really help you with long-term success. So let's explore a little bit of this.
Here you can see on my phone screen a few apps that are free to use to help with food journaling. You can download these apps in the App Store if you have an iPhone like me, or in the Google Play Store if you have an Android phone. Now I will go into a little bit more detail about how to download and use the MyFitnessPal app, that's the blue one, as it's one that I generally use and the one that I find has the most useful features with their free version. So here in the App Store in the top left, I'm going to click that, and I just go ahead and search for MyFitnessPal, all one word. You can see here, there you go. All right, search for that. Okay, and there it is down there, that blue icon. Now, I've already downloaded it before, so I don't need to do it right now, okay? But let me show you what it looks like on the home screen. All right, so it looks like that, right? So let me go ahead and launch that right now. Like most apps, they have like a free version and a paid premium version. I would start with the free version, and it's up to you if you like to upgrade to the paid premium version in the future. The premium version offers some convenient features like being able to scan barcodes on food packages, which can save time, but it's not absolutely necessary for you to be able to use the app effectively. I personally have been using this app now to log my food intake for the last 10 years, and I've only used the free version this whole time. All right. Now, sometimes when people first start using this app, they get a little stuck because a page like this will pop up. All right. And it looks like, you can't move on or continue using the app without selecting some sort of yearly or monthly plan, or paying money, or doing a 1 month free trial or something like that. And so this is just a little tricky there. If you get stuck on this page, just look in the top right corner and you'll see this tiny little X. Okay. You just got to hit that X. All right, and the page goes away and you can continue using this app with no problems. All right, the main feature you'll need to use is the food logging feature. To log in your food, you just have to push on this little plus button. So look in the bottom toolbar, this big blue button. If you push that, you'll see a different variety of options, one of them being log food. So that's one way to do it. Or you can also just look on, once again, the bottom toolbar. There's a little diary section. Just select diary. It'll actually show you your food diary for the day. Okay. Now I'm going to do it from here. I'm going to go ahead and actually add food here, right here. All right, and now I'm going to type in avocado toast because that is what I had for breakfast today. I'll search. All right. Okay, and there we go. And then it has a huge database, this app. And so, it has just about every food that you can think of there, especially if it's something that's bought in a market or a restaurant. Okay, and even has, homemade foods or more exotic ethnic foods. Now, even if you don't find the exact thing you're eating, let's say it's something really homemade, you could just find something similar, generic. Don't worry about being too nitpicky in terms of the accuracy in your entries. All right, it's better just to put something down. And, that's the most important part. So as you can see, for avocado toast, there's a number of different entries. Okay, just look for one that looks about right to you and click on it. The ones that have a green check mark tend to be more accurate, as they've usually have been verified by the people who run the app. So I choose that if that's available. So I'm gonna go ahead and check this one on way on the bottom here. So for avocado toast, I'm gonna choose it first, and then I can actually change the number of servings. So let's say I had 2 pieces. And there we go. I'm going to push this check mark on the top right to enter it. All right, and it should be in there. I can go back by hitting that top left arrow button, and there it shows you my log. Okay, so you can see I actually had put in too many. So if I need to delete one, I can just go left, swipe left on it, and then delete it from there. All right, there you go. All right, so now that I've done it, I've already entered, one item. So pretty simple as that. Okay, and this app has a huge nutritional database. So as long as you put, the food in there, it's doing all the other work in terms of, accumulating the nutritional information. Now, you could track all kinds of things like your macros and sugars and proteins and carbs and fats. But honestly, for the purposes of weight loss, all that really isn't all that useful, and honestly it's not always all that accurate. When it comes down to weight loss and weight loss maintenance, there's really only one main number you have to track, and that is just the total calories. Okay, now these food journaling apps, including this one, are really good at tracking total calories. Okay, they associate, like right here, right on the home page on the top, it'll tell you how much you've done for today. It says here 378 in this case, and how much it says I have left, 1468. They generally will set up a daily calorie goal for you. Okay, they have their own calculations based on the information that you initially give the app when you first set it up. Okay, now this daily goal may or may not be similar to the goal that I will ultimately recommend for you. So if it's not, if it's not similar to the goal I give you, I would recommend using the goal that I give. Okay, so if you want to change your daily goals, you can do so by first pushing the More button here on the bottom right of this toolbar. Okay, and then you can go to the Goals section down there. You can see right here, Goals. All right, and then if you look under the Nutrition goals, where it says Calorie, Carbs, Protein, and Fat goals, you can push that one. All right, and then you can, where it says Calories up top, you can click it, and then you can manually change it to something, let's say like 1500. Let me actually change it right now. It's 1500 or something like that. All right, so it's changed now. All right, now I'm gonna go back to the top left, hit the arrow button, and you can see, if you look at my diary now, my goal on the top left has changed to 1500 now. Okay, now to start off, in terms of recommendations, usually for most women, I would recommend a goal of about 1,200 to 1,500 calories a day for weight loss. And for most men, I usually would recommend about 1,500 or around that general range there. The truth is, a lot of people can usually consume more calories than 1,500 and still lose weight initially. But these goals, really think of them as long-term goals, which should help you ultimately get to your long-term, kind of more ideal weight goals down the line. Okay, this food logging skill is particularly powerful when you combine it with another skill, which is just simply weighing yourself. Now, you don't have to weigh yourself daily. Okay, I recommend weighing yourself at least once a week. I find it easier if you choose the same day of the week for weigh-ins. So it could be, let's say, every Monday or Friday or something like that to make it easy to remember. But the important thing is to enter those weights into the MyFitnessPal app. Okay, you can do those by either pushing, once again, this big blue plus button on the center, and then you can see there's a weight on the bottom left area. You could do it like that. Okay, so that's one way you can enter your weight. Or another way is if you go hit the dashboard on the bottom left of the main toolbar. Okay, you can actually scroll up on the dashboard, and here you see the weight part. You can hit that plus sign, and you can enter it that way, whichever way works better for you. Okay. Now, when you combine tracking your weight along with your calorie intake, you can now get even more insights into what your individual body is doing. Because what's great about the MyFitnessPal app is that after you've been good about entering just about everything you eat for at least a week or two, you can review the previous data from weeks in the past. And based on that, you can really calculate some good let me show you. If I hit that more button again on the bottom right, and then I go down a little bit and select and do the nutrition one right here. All right. And then what I can do now is I can actually look under the calories up here. Okay. Then change it to a week view, and it'll tell me week by week how I did. Okay. So this is my most recent week, and it'll tell you, in terms of, kind of every day, how I did. But even more importantly, if you look down here, what's really good is that they'll show you what your daily average is for that week. Okay, so you can see here, this was for this past week. And then if you swipe left a little bit, there's a week prior to that. So you can see my average was about $23.99. And the week prior to that, it was $25.91. So you can really see, and when you combine that with tracking your weight, you'll be able to really get a better idea of what your body is doing. Okay, so for example, if you've, let's say, had a good week or two, in terms of like weight loss, and you can look back and see, hey, what did you average per day during those good weeks? Okay, because then you'll know what average daily calorie intake is working for you in regards to weight loss, because it's not the same for everyone. Okay, and the same thing applies if you had a bad week. Let's say you gained weight, you could still go back, and as long as you've been good about putting everything in, you can see, hey, what was your average daily intake during that bad week, and so what number led to weight gain. Okay, so here in my case, I can look back at my weights by going back to, I'm gonna go back, and under the more section again, if you look under progress now, okay, right here, right under goals, all right, and I can change that top left. So instead of looking at steps, I'm going to change it to weight instead, and I'm going to change the kind of the date range. I'm just going to say the last month or so. Okay, so this is kind of, I've been pretty good about tracking my weights at least once a week. This is a graph of this past month, so kind of a roller coaster ride here, if you can see. Now you can see kind of towards the earlier part of this month, I seem to do pretty well there. It looks like around October 1st, I lost a few pounds there, but you can see shortly after that, maybe about October 3rd, October 4th, then I had a bad week, and I gained a bit of weight there. Okay, so that's good to know. So knowing this, let me see, let's look back. Okay, so I'm gonna go back, top left little arrow there. Okay, this is once again under the more menu here, and then I'm gonna look at my nutrition trend again. Okay, so remember I had that good week, was like the beginning of October, so let me just go back. I'll swipe a little bit. Okay, so this is about that time. So during that good week, it looks like I averaged about 2216 calories during that good week. All right, but then you remember I told you, I gained weight just that following week. So let me see the week afterwards. What did I average? 2591. So significantly more. Okay, so no wonder I would gain weight that week. Now, as you start doing this more and more, you'll start to realize that for your body, what average daily calorie kind of number helps you lose weight. Everyone's different, as we all have different metabolisms based on our age, genetics, and other factors that are beyond our control. So once you know what works for you, it helps you make more effective changes to promote weight loss. Okay. Now, it's important to keep tracking though, because your metabolism will change over time. Unfortunately, when you start losing, more weight, your body will start adjusting and reflexively lowering your metabolism. So let's say the same 2200 calories, that was helping me lose weight right now, if I continue losing weight in 6 months, that 2200, per day, may only keep me at a plateau, or where I'm just breaking even. Okay, and even later on, I may actually be gaining weight with this amount of calorie intake there. Okay, so if I'm not at my target weight at that point when I plateau, the only thing I can do is to lower my target. Okay, so let's say instead of this amount of calories, let's say I go down to 1800 or something like that. Okay, and then later on, let's say I lose more weight but plateau at 1800. If I'm still not at my target, then I'll have to lower the target some more. Okay, well, I won't know this unless I keep tracking both my weight and my intake. That's why it's important to continue to try to do these habits long term. Ideally, it's really good to do a long-term meat meal, even after you hit your target, because it's really helpful with maintaining that weight loss long-term, which a lot of time is the hardest part. Now, you don't have to use this specific particular app, okay? If you find that it's a little hard to use, or maybe there's some technical issues due to perhaps your phone's operating system, then you can look for other apps that are also, okay? So there's some other ones here. These are some of the more popular ones that have good free versions, like Lose It or My Net Diary. But honestly, there's tons of other apps out there. If there's one that you find particularly easy to use and you like, that would be the best one to do, because the best app really is the one that you're likely to continue using. Okay, all right, so hopefully that's helpful.
Okay, so let's start talking about food. Now, hopefully those of you who are going to be starting your weight loss journey with us will be participating in some of our Center for Healthy Living programs, such as the Healthy Balance. Well, they'll be able to spend much more time over several weeks really getting into the details of good eating habits. With the little bit of time we have now, I'd like to at least give you an introduction or a preview, if you will, of kind of our nutritional guidelines through our programs, especially our kind of nutritional philosophy. And it's actually pretty simple. The main core of most of our programs in terms of our philosophy when it comes to food and nutrition is we really just want you to increase the amount of unprocessed whole plant foods in your diet. Okay, that's mainly in the form of non-starchy vegetables and fruit to some extent. Now, you don't have to be 100% plant-based, okay? I'm not saying you have to be vegan or vegetarian or anything like that, but overall, we would like to encourage you to incorporate more of those foods in your diet, because not only is it gonna be helpful for weight loss, it's gonna be great for your overall health there too. All right, now part of the, it's a couple reasons for this plant-based approach. One, you may have heard that, our recommendations in terms of kind of calorie goals, somewhere around the range of 1,200 to 1,500 calories a day. Now, if you go to most restaurants, when you look at the menu of those that have a calorie count, you'll notice most entrees are already well over 1,500 calories, okay? So that's really just one entree for one meal. So to be able to go through the day and not be hungry and still be able to stay in that range, you really need foods that are lower in calorie density, high in fiber, that tend to be filling. And that's really what great whole plant foods are best at. Fruits and vegetables, they are very low in calorie density, high in fiber, lots of water content. They can keep you full and still satisfied and still keep you in that general range. But aside from just the calorie issue, there are qualities of plant foods that are really helpful too. Now, with research these days, we've learned that, there are other factors at play in our ability to lose weight or stay a good weight, and one of them is the type of bacteria. There are billions of bacteria in our gut that reside there, and they actually can do some of the work for us if they're the good types of bacteria. They can actually help us lose weight or stay at a good weight, okay? And what do these good types of bacteria, what do they like? They like plant foods, they like plant fiber, they like vegetables, they like fruit. What do they not like? They don't like processed foods, and they don't like animal products. So overall, let's feed those bacteria the food that they like so that they can do some of the work for us. And outside of that, even, of course, plenty of other, health benefits with the plant-based approach, such as, really preserving kidney health and heart health and everything like that, okay? But overall, that is our general approach there, okay? So in terms of your standard meals, okay, we try to keep things simple visually, so especially things like lunch and dinner, our main goal, probably the number one goal, is to try to have, if you look at these standard kind of meal plates, is to have at least half of your plate consisting of non-starchy vegetables. So that's pretty much any vegetable that's not a potato, because potatoes are starchy, okay? So it includes these lovely green beans, okay? So these I just made not too long earlier. Now, I'm certainly not a gourmet chef by any means, okay? These are very, very simple preparations, okay? But you see here, what we've done here is took some green beans, sprayed a little bit of olive oil on there, seasoned it with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then put it in the oven there, okay? Very, very simple and quite tasty. I love green beans there, all right? So that's good. Also, here, let me just fill up these plates here. So other vegetables, it doesn't have to just be green, the green ones are healthy, but it could be different colors, okay? things like carrots, beets, mushrooms, onions. Really take your pick there. All right. Now, I had also prepared, this one was in the air fryer, and this is a collection of root vegetables, all sorts of different colors. Carrots. There's some red onions in there. There's parsnips in there. I'm a big fan of root vegetables. I like the texture. And here we can put it to fill up the rest of the half of the plate there, okay? And this actually came in a bag from a market, just put it in the air fryer and, just left it in there. It was very easy. You could also even microwave them, all right? But of course, if you want to get them individually, kind of cut them and prepare them yourselves, that's fine there too, okay? All right, so there we go. All right, and let's see here. Just fill that up a little bit here. Okay, but the goal is to get half the plate, okay? So you see here, now really, vegetables a lot of times, at least for most people, really is more of a kind of a side player, right? When you think of a standard meal, you think, oh, the protein is really the main course with the carb, right? You think about like a pasta or rice dish. But overall, the hardest part, is really changing, the whole mentality. Maybe you already have some vegetables, but the key is really viewing the vegetables as being the main course, right? It's what you're really going to fill up on. Everything else becomes more of a side player there. Okay. All right. So there we go. We have close to about half vegetables there on each plate there. Now for the protein, we kind of change the focus there. We really want now to really have the protein be about a quarter of the plate there. Okay. So here you can see, there we have a couple different types of proteins there. Now, I know out there a lot of people think you got to eat massive amounts of protein to lose weight. That's not true. Protein is important, but a quarter of the plate is good enough there, okay? Now, in terms of what's more important is the choice of protein, all right? Now, we really want the healthiest, leanest proteins possible, okay? So if we're talking about animal proteins, really the best you can do would be fish, or possibly shrimp or other seafood like clams or mussels or scallops or oysters, but primarily fish, okay? Now, if you see here, we have a little bit of a white fish. This is actually cod that we had prepared earlier. Lighter preparation, the better. This also was done very simply. Just put a little bit of olive oil on there. Put a little bit of kind of salt and pepper. I also used a little bit of some Old Bay seasoning. I find that very tasty. It's okay to use different seasonings, okay? If you like, things spicier, you can use peppers. You like more citrus, you can certainly use, things like lemon or lime, okay? But overall, you can see that a quarter of the plate is good. This fish is probably roughly about, 5 ounces or so, fills up a quarter of our plate there, okay? So that certainly is a good option there. Now, the main proteins we really want to avoid or reduce at least are the red meats and processed meats, okay? So red meat isn't just, talking about steak or beef. Red meat really is meat from any sort of mammal source, meaning, basically any animal with 4 legs, okay? So if it's a pig, a lamb, a goat, even, that's all considered red meat. So pork is not the other white meat, okay? It's still considered red meat. Processed meats is similar, except now that meat has been kind of cured or, treated in some way, okay? So that's stuff like hot dogs, sausages, bacon, salami, pepperoni, jerky, ham, spam. So I'm not saying you can't have those proteins ever, okay? When I say limit, let's say 7 days out of the week, let's try to have the red meat and processed meats no more than 1 day a week, okay? The other 6 days, let's really try to go leaner. So something like fish or shrimp, if we're talking about animal proteins. And then there's of course chicken. Now, just a little, caveat with chicken. Chicken, some people think, anything chicken is healthy. That's not necessarily true. Now, if we're talking about skinless chicken breast, that's probably the leanest you can do. This is what we have here, okay? A little bit of skinless chicken breast there. So here, once again, we'll watch the portions. This one we prepared very similarly, same type of thing, where we had put a little bit, straight a little olive oil on there. The season with some salt and pepper. And then I put in actually a little bit of a Italian kind of seasoning because I like that flavor, and then put it in the oven. Obviously lighter preparations like baked or grilled preparations are certainly better. Try to avoid things that are fried, so especially with chicken, if it's got the skin on, if it's dark meat like a thigh or leg or wing, then fat level goes up. But especially if it's breaded and fried, so things like chicken fingers, chicken nuggets, fried chicken sandwiches, then not that healthy. Turkey is usually a good option. A ground turkey breast, that's usually pretty lean, so that's not a bad option. But really, in terms of just to add more variety for proteins into the mix there, the healthiest protein by far, even more so than fish, would be plant proteins. Plant proteins are basically legumes for the most part, which are basically beans or kind of bean related foods there, okay? All kinds of beans, you would be pinto beans, black beans, lentils in that family, okay? So here actually I would have here is that we made a little bit of a lentil soup there as our kind of plant-based protein. So for this is also very simple preparation. You put it in this kind of a slow cooker, pressure cooker. Basically start off a little bit of olive oil, and then we put in a little mirepoix, which is already kind of in the market, a blend of carrots and celery and onions. Season it a bit with salt and pepper, and then overall put in a little bit of some chicken stock, lentils first, and then some canned tomatoes, and then some chicken broth. Okay, and just let it basically cook into this yummy lentil soup. One of my favorites. Lentil is a superfood, great plant protein, lots of fiber. Great thing about plant proteins is they have fiber. Animal proteins don't have any fiber. Okay, this fiber is not only, of course, great for digestion, but we know it's helpful for the weight loss component. Okay, this plant fiber that's in these plant proteins also promotes good bacteria growth in your gut, helps with the weight loss aspect of it. And then just in general, plant proteins are usually better for your organs like your kidneys and heart and things like that. So there you have, where your protein is basically, a little bit of lentils there, so that would be excellent. Now, you don't have to eat like this every day. Or if you were eating like this, and obviously you would probably be, 100% you would be, a vegan. Not saying you have to, go straight into veganism, but if you can incorporate more plant proteins into your diet, all the better there, okay? So you see all that's left is this last quarter of the plate. For that, we can save for your starches, so your carbs, right? Things like rice and bread and tortillas and things like that. But even though we're limiting the amount, let's really try to stick with really the healthiest versions of these carbs. So that's really the high fiber whole grain variety there, okay? So so if we're talking about things like rice, there'd be things like brown rice, okay? Now I know brown rice for a lot of people is a little bit off-putting, they're not used to the texture. So here in this rice cooker, just to get started, what we did is just took some brown rice and mixed it with a little bit of, with some white rice, and then just to get, kind of maybe used to the flavor and texture a little bit. It's okay to just start off with maybe half and half or something like that. And you can see we're just gonna fill up a quarter of the plate, all right? And that would be a little mixture of brown and white rice, so that would be good. Or alternatively, something like bread. So bread, something like whole grain bread or whole wheat bread would be a much better substitute than white bread. It has more fiber. So overall, here's a little whole grain kind of bread piece right there. So that would go well over there, okay? Actually, you know what? I'll put this one over here with the lentils because, that might actually work out a little bit better there. All right, and then in terms of something like tortillas, corn tortillas would be certainly a better option. Flour tortillas, okay? So you can certainly, like switch out the bread if you wanted, maybe have one or possibly two corn tortillas, something like that, okay? Now, speaking of corn, corn in itself is actually considered a carb or a starch. So corn is actually not a vegetable. It's considered a grain. It's considered a starch. This would be a good option, a substitute for white rice or something like that. Okay, so you could just put this as your quarter and that would be an excellent healthy starch there also. Okay, so these are all overall good options. Now, I forgot to mention earlier, of course, for the vegetables, you can always go with something easy like a prepackaged salad mix. Okay, so if you wanted to add a little bit, just kind of top that off there in terms of our half, just to fill out. Really hard to go wrong with the non-starchy vegetables, so low in calories. Of course, I would go light with the dressing there, but overall, that would be certainly a good option there overall. Okay, so overall, when it comes to standard meals, this would be the general kind of construct that I would try to work towards. When I mentioned fruit earlier, so fruit is really best for snacks and probably breakfast. Okay, so for snacks, way better than something like chips or cookies, obviously, but also quote unquote healthy snacks, things like a protein shake or a protein bar or trail mix. Go with fresh fruit, okay? It's got low in calories, but also lots of good things like fiber and water, antioxidants and nutrients, okay? So you really can't go wrong, something like these, plums or plum cods, apples, berries of all kinds. So not dry fruit or fruit juice, but fresh fruit really can't go wrong. Also good for breakfast, like I mentioned. Most people don't have a tough time getting vegetables, or plants into their breakfast. So fruit is definitely a good alternative there. All right. So now let's focus a little bit on beverages. So overall, as you probably already know, the healthiest beverage by far is water. Okay. Now I would recommend at least 64 ounces of water a day. Okay. Best to keep track. They have these great water bottles that have the ounces right on the side. This one's 24 ounces. Okay. So throughout the day, I'm going to try to probably get at least, try to get to about 3 or a little bit short of that. Okay, that's a good way of measuring that. In terms of, beverages you want to avoid, so you already know you want to avoid sodas, fruit juices, those are high in sugar. We want to avoid liquid calories. Liquid calories, are bad because they're just basically liquid sugar, and so they get absorbed right away after you drink them. And they goes right into your bloodstream, then get stored as fat, and they don't take up any space, right? So overall, you could still eat a full meal even though you just had, a big glass of juice or soda. So really, it works against us. But we also want to be careful and avoid non-sugar sweetened drinks, okay? So like your diet sodas, zero sodas, water flavor enhancers. The problem with them, even though they have 0 calories, is that, that non-sugar sweetener still can, over time, with regular intake, lead to weight gain and higher blood sugars, okay? The problem is those non-sugar sweeteners, even though they have 0 calories, they're way sweeter than natural sugar. So what that does is it trains your brain to crave high levels of sweetness. So basically you have more sugar cravings down the line there, okay? So overall, I would try to avoid those. Also, if you're a little bit bored of water, there are all alternatives. If you want a little carbonation, you can do, one of these little sparkling waters if they're naturally flavored, or you can certainly just get regular, kind of sparkling water, add a little bit of lemon, lime, fruit, or something like that for natural flavoring yourself. And then there's, of course, teas, unsweetened teas, whether it be iced teas or hot or warm teas, overall, a good kind of alternative. But I would definitely try to go primarily with water there, okay, when it comes to beverages. Okay, all right, so and then let's talk a little bit about some non-food related things that also are helpful in terms of lifestyle habits. Okay, one of them would be sleep. All right, so people don't realize how important sleep is when it comes to weight loss. Sleep isn't just about having enough energy throughout the day. When they do studies and they take human subjects and they force them to sleep more in a controlled environment, just that extra hour and a half, 2 hours of sleep, they just naturally lose weight, okay? They naturally eat less food, their appetite, goes down. So we found that there definitely is a certain sweet spot for sleep. And that sweet spot, that goal is at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep, okay? So let's try to get at least 7. So to really enhance that and make that work for you to help you with your weight loss, efforts there. In terms of something else that's kind of related to sleep, which is the timing of your meals, okay? And especially that last meal. and how close it is to when you go to bed. All right, so, you really should try not to eat too close to bedtime because it actually affects your metabolism, not to mention your digestion and quality of sleep. A good goal would be to try to not eat any food, even fruit or healthy snacks, within that 4-hour window of bedtime. Okay, so trying to do that will really be helpful there too. And then lastly, there's of course exercise. Now, exercise, if you can do it, if you're physically capable, and certainly if you have time, will only be additive. I'd save it for last, in terms of lifestyle, kind of components, because of all these other things we talked about, it is by far probably the least important. Okay, all these other things we talked about regarding kind of food and sleep is probably more important. But if you can incorporate it, all the better. You don't have to exercise 2 hours a day. You don't have to go to gym and you do crazy intense exercise. Even just walking, a good controlled continuous walk is good. Anything where you're basically either getting your heart rate up a little bit or building a little bit of muscle is good. Good goal would be ultimately 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes a day. Whatever you can do to kind of build off whatever, more than you're doing now will of course be helpful there. All right, so that would be, a good kind of first overall kind of, action items that you can think about if you aren't already doing them. That'll help, assist with, whatever medical treatment that we'll be putting you on to help with weight loss there. All right, so thank you for spending that time with me right now in this kitchen, and best of luck on your journey to better wellness and health. Thank you.